Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. I've just gotten off the ferry at Pyrmont Bay Wharf, and it's a cold winter's morning. Wishing everybody a happy Thursday, and we'll look forward to see what this day brings for each and every one of us. And I'm just in the city today. I've got training. I'm doing HSR Health and Safety Officer training at the headquarters of the CFMEU. So I thought I'd board the ferry and just go for a ferry ride to bring me across here to Pyrmont, because the offices where I'll be doing the training is just up the road. So I don't know if everybody's aware, but over here at Pyrmont we have a museum, a maritime museum, and the museum has a wall called the Welcome Wall, which has been established as a memorial for all those wonderful migrants who came from far and wide, from countries all over the world, to make Australia their home, their second home, but also the home for their children, grandchildren, and future generations. And this wall here commemorates those people, many of which may have passed away. And I was fortunate many years ago when the wall was initiated back in 1999, and I organised for the names of my parents and in-laws to be permanently engraved on this wall. And there you have it. You've got my surname, my father's name, my mother's maiden name, as well as my father-in-law's surname, name, and my mother-in-law's maiden name. And just on the other side here is Michael Bartle, my best man. His surname, father's name, and mother's maiden name. People who came from the same village as my parents. So as you can see, there are thousands and thousands of names captured for future generations to be able to come down here and to respectfully realise and understand that these people here are the people who established a new legacy for their families and future generations. And we pay respect for our elders, past and present and emerging, because these people here, these first migrants who came to this country, are the ones who came here by choice. They came here, they invested here, they worked here, they lived here, and they added value to this wonderful country. So it's important for us to remember them. It's important for us to respect them and to understand that their selfless endeavours mean a lot to each and every one of us. They gave us options. They gave us two doorways, two homes. We've got the old home that will always be home, and we've got a new home that we can always have as a home as well. So what I'd like to do now is to go through, in the tradition of Jim's 5am Club, and go and pick up and review a book summary and try and learn something new on this wonderful, crisp winter's morning. And the book summary that I've got to deliver this morning is entitled The Sales Advantage. by a wonderful traditional and high-profile author known as Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie, in this book, highlights and says something which is really profound and really interesting. He says, at the end of the day, nobody wants to be sold, nobody wants to be conned or pushed into anything. But we all like to make great buying decisions. So what we're saying here is that it's up to the sales professionals that we have in our world to aid that process, to facilitate the process and help people make great buying decisions, as opposed to thinking that they've been manipulated and sold on something that they didn't really want and doesn't really meet their needs. So Dale, in his typical form, positions this book and positions the challenges for people to contemplate and to try and learn from. And he says that sales is a tough profession because you need to invest a lot of time and a lot of effort in relationships that may lead to nowhere, relationships that may not create or deliver an outcome. So you first need to be liked. So regardless of whether or not you're going to be successful or not, the first point that everybody needs to consider as a salesperson or living and working in a sales environment is that you need to be liked. You need to be liked like Simon the Likeable in Get Smart, because if you're not liked, then you're not going to be all that successful in your sales pursuits. So you need to be liked, and in addition to that, there are a whole host of other variables that are going to create challenges for you along the way, according to Dale Carnegie. So Dale kicks off his book with his first formal point, where he says that a successful deal starts before you even pick up the phone and before you even approach your prospect. So he describes it as the pre-approach, and the pre-approach is critical because you need to plan so your prospect doesn't cut you off too early in your approach. So the best salespeople are the ones who are organised, the ones who have a process, the ones who know their clients, know their products, and are in a position to do whatever they need to do in order to get their foot firstly in the door. So the pre-approach is critical, and you need to plan so that you get the most out of that first interaction with your client or your prospect. So your introduction, according to Dale Carnegie, is absolutely critical. And what you need to be able to do along the way is to provide solutions, provide valuable and value-added solutions to people's problems, because at the end of the day, that's what your job is to provide solutions, to identify problems, to help your client understand that they have a problem and that your organisation has the necessary solutions for those problems. So you need to invest time in building a relationship. You need to invest time in understanding what their business problems are, and then you need to understand and to invest time into communicating and bridging the solutions that you have to the problems that the client has in a way which is going to be meaningful for your client. So you need to understand their problems, their frustrations, and to address them as effectively as you can. And at the same time, you need to be able to address the competition and to position yourself above the competition in order to eliminate them from the picture. So you need to make sure not to waste time with people who are not the decision makers or the key influencers. So this is really important too. So because your time is limited, you need to make sure that you're identifying and you're targeting the right people in the organisation and not spending too much time or wasting too much time talking to people who are not going to be the final decision maker or the key influencer. But by the same token, you do need to build rapport, and you need to build a network of supporters amongst the people within the organisation in order to identify what the issues are and to figure out how to then approach the decision makers and to talk in a way that shows the decision maker that you know what the issues are and what your solutions, how your solutions can help. So you need to know your target customer well enough to personalise your offering and to relate your pitch to their problems and to talk about how there are other people who have similar sort of issues, similar sort of problems that you've been able to address with your product and service. So it's all about talking about features and benefits. And I guess this is more old style in terms of the sales pitch, being able to have and talk about features and benefits, and to specifically be able to identify the WIFM, the what's in it for me, for your particular client. Because at the end of the day, unless they see value, unless they see a solution, a cost-effective solution, then they're not going to be interested in buying or supporting what you're saying. And the author here, Dale, in his typical form, talks about the importance of using people's name, because he says the most powerful thing in the world is a person's name, and being able to relate and to repeat that name back to them over and over again is a surefire way of gaining access to their hearts, souls and minds. So the third formal point that comes from this book is that once you've set up a meeting with your prospect, you need to address and continually address their pain points. Keep on reminding them about the things that cause them grief within their work environments, and how your solution and your product and your service is going to help them get over and get through those problem points. So some key strategies here we're talking about, and it all requires you to be able to ask the right questions, and you need to be addressing these pain points straight away as early as possible to keep the attention of your prospect. So the author here once again reminds us of the importance of asking the right questions and to get detailed context, because there's no use asking questions that don't lead you to the right context. And here we have a nice little statue of a couple of sailors. I'll try and get a different angle just to give you a better perspective. But this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to help a client steer their ship, their business into the right direction, and to solve the problems, solve the headwinds, solve the massive seas that come from time to time for each sailor. And as many people say, you know, the mark of a great captain is their ability to traverse and get through dangerous waters and massive swells and seas. So what more can we learn from this book summary? We need to ask the right questions, get detailed context, and we need to understand, this is an important one, we need to understand the client's underlying motives. You know, what makes them tick? What are the issues? What are the key issues that cause them problems? You know, what keeps them up late at night? What gets them up early in the morning? To be able to understand what makes them tick and what troubles them is the key point that comes from this. And the most important thing of all, according to the author, is a salesperson's ability to close. The point that separates top sales professionals from the also-rans is their ability to smoothly close out a contract, get the client to sign on the dotted line without any commotion, and it's done, as we've said before, smoothly and directly, without spooking them and making them reconsider. Because what you don't want is you don't want people to say, look, let me think about it and I'll come back to you, because guess what? They'll never come back to you. I remember years ago going on a sales boot camp with a great American salesperson who's written a number of books. His name is Tom Hopkins, and he said that you need to be calm, you need to be collected, but you need to be very directive when you're closing a sale, and you need to get there and get there quickly. So you need to be smooth in your closing to not spook them. You need to make sure that you're asking low variable questions, and to avoid at all costs any open-ended questions. And you need to, as I said before, make that close, and to insist on making that close without creating any distractions or any disturbances that may scuttle your approach. So there we go. Thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's a cold winter's morning on this Thursday. This is my second vlog for the day. I only planned on doing one, but because I came into the city a little bit earlier, I've had time to knock out a second vlog. So I appreciate you joining me on this episode, and please, where possible, pass the word around to your friends and family. Tell them about my YouTube channel, Jim's 5am Club, because I've clocked up close to 64 book summaries in English and about 60 in Greek. But there's plenty of material there. There are plenty of things that can be shared with younger people who don't have the time to read through a book, don't have the time to work out their problems, but sometimes there are a lot of these solutions, there are a lot of these life hacks that I've been able to synthesize and bring together in Jim's 5am Club by using OPE, other people's experiences that have been captured in books and book summaries, and experiences that can help people make sense of their world, make sense of their challenges, and know that they're not alone. Anyway, take care everybody. Yassas. Wishing you all the best. And until we meet again and chat again, take care. Bye for now.